Hello, thank you guys for joining me. Today we're gonna try some new makeup. I have been on a little spending spree. There's just been a lot of new things coming out that I haven't tried, so I've been wanting to give it a shot. So let's see how they work. First I already have my skincare on. My skin has been just breaking out. I mean, you can still see I have marks left from all my pimples, but it is what it is, you know. It's quarantine for you. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this Summer Fridays lip balm. It's been really good for my chapped lips. I slather it on. Oh, so moisturizing, and it smells so good. It's, I guess, vanilla. Yes, vanilla. So it's delicious. My husband hates it, so I have to put it on whenever I'm not gonna give him a kiss. He hates it, but I need it for my lips to be moisturized. If not, they get so cracked, which is gross. But so we're gonna start with eyes. I'm gonna do something probably simple. I want to try out a couple new things. I found this Bobbi Brown eyeliner in this beautiful green. It's called Black Ivy. I used to love wearing as eyeliner green eyeshadow. I don't know why, but I felt like it made my really dark eyes pop. So I'm gonna probably do something similar with this guy. So to prep, I've been using this Hourglass concealer. It's really pretty. It is called, I guess, their Vanish concealer. It's really, really pretty. It's very high coverage, a little bit. Goes a long way. But I like to put concealer on my eyes to set and prime it and make it look even. That's all you gotta do. Leave it like that, and you're good to go. Just kidding, we're gonna blend it out. I love a beauty blender. They're perfect for blending things out, for fixing things, for, you know, taking away if you put too much, for applying. You can even use this for a powder. It's like the holy grail tool. If you're gonna buy one expensive like brush or tool, I would say this is the one. It's just, it can be used for so many things. Okay. So now I'm all one color. And it may look like it's not my color, but my face is actually a different color than my body from having so many chemical peels on my face. My face is naturally more red now, even though I'm technically a little bit more of neutral tone. My face makes me look like I'm pink. Jeez, look at that pink. But I'm not. So always make sure when you're matching yourself, go to your neck and your body, make sure everything looks similar. So we're gonna set that with some powder. This is gonna be very simple makeup look. I think I'm gonna do Charlotte Tilbury. This is a really good powder. I'm just gonna put a little bit on a brush, a little small brush. I'll probably use the same brush for everything, mostly because I don't really have a lot that's clean right now. Who has time to clean? I'm just kidding, we have all the time in the world. So we're just setting that so that we don't put powder on top of liquid. Nice and even, smooth, dry. I'm gonna use this nice little Becca palette. It has a very simple colors. We're gonna go in with this first shade. Just put that on a brush. And I'm just going to carve out my crease. I have a huge brow bone. And so I really like to define it so that so you can see the shadow and see my eyes. I feel like it looks best way. Just gonna go back and forth. I'm not gonna go down. I wanna keep everything up to match my eyes. Just make them look a little bigger. Very light. It almost looks like a skin tone color. I'll do the same. Just back and forth. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just carving out our bone structure, really. I always find that the second I pick up more product than the first, or it just looks like it is, so I go back a second time with the other eye, the first one I did, and then I'm back again, just so it's nice and even. Very light. So now we're gonna go in with, I think we're gonna do this shade here. Looks a little more purple than it does on camera, but it's a nice little mid-tone shade. I'm gonna just copy right in that same area. And I like using a fluffy brush just because I like it. I think it keeps things soft instead of harsh. And then we'll do a little bit of circles here. Just really blend that color. And you can always add more as you go, but a little bit at a time works for me. So shadow-wise, that's pretty much all I'm gonna do. I don't really want to do too much. I wanna keep my lids natural because what I really wanna be the showstopper is my liner. So whatever's left on the brush, we're gonna come down and just brush it there underneath the eye to give it a little definition, nothing too crazy. We'll cover it up afterwards with concealer. Perfect. So let's do some liner. All right, I'm gonna need to get close. Don't worry, I'm not sick. And so I like to start in the middle and just kind of drag it out. Ooh, look at that color. I can't see now. I like to make my liner thicker on the outside and thinner on the inside. And what's really important is to get right into your lash line. It just makes your lashes look thicker and fuller, which is what we all want. Oops. Can't talk and do this at the same time. I think for my liner, I'm just gonna do like my little flick. Go right up. Just there. It's a good start. And then I'll connect it right there. There. Simple. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I like it. Now we're gonna go here. This is actually really creamy. And then for the inner corner, I'm just gonna actually hug on the inside so that it stays really thin. And for that, I'm probably gonna need another, have to look a little bit closer. Just so you wanna look down, get right in there. You're pretty much hugging your waterline and barely going on top. Just enough to connect the two. I did it without crying. Yay! And it just kind of opens up the eyes just a bit. And then we'll do the other side. I have a greenish kind of color here. It's very sparkly. I'm gonna just intensify that sparkle. Just a little bit with a little teeny tiny brush. We'll just put that on and then stamp it right over and intensify it just on the outside. Just a little bit there. It'll intensify the shimmer too. And also putting a powder on top of like this kind of gel will help it last longer. Kind of smoke it out. It's also good for if you make any mistakes, you can always go over with the similar type of shadow, and then it will help fix it. And that's it. Just put some mascara on. I've been liking Charlotte Tilbury mascara. The only thing is that mine is a little messy. Don't know what happened, but it's a little clumpy at the moment. So I'm just gonna use just a little bit. And hope I don't mess it up. It's not the end of the world. Like that, of course. That's just my lot in life. So we'll come back and fix that. For now, let's move on to the skin. I'm gonna put, I use Charlotte Tilbury, the Flawless Filter. It's a little bit of a primer and highlighter. I like to put on my cheeks and forehead just a bit, and nose. I like this one because it also is pore minimizing, and that's where I have the most pores, right on my cheeks. So just put a little, just blend that out. You see, it just gives a little bit of coverage while giving you a really nice glow. Perfect. So I'm gonna try something new. It's a new palette by Bobbi Brown. It's not new, but it's new to me. I love it. I usually use Graftobian, and I always wanted to try this out. It comes with the correctors, concealer, and foundation. And so I'm gonna give it a shot to see if it's good on skin so I can use it on clients. So I'm going to use the corrector first. Corrector is for under the eyes to correct any of that discoloration that we have naturally. For me, although you can't really tell, I think it's a little, it's not too dark, thankfully. I just use a little peach. Nice peachy tone. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm gonna try that with finger and then tap that in. And so what we want is to neutralize whatever discoloration we have. See how much brighter that looks? And I only put a very little bit. And you don't want to really put corrector all over the under eye, just really where you need it, or else it loses its effect. The concealer you put everywhere. My Hourglass concealer. Just gonna put that on top. And yes, I actually shouldn't. Let me go back. So I'm gonna put corrector first, then foundation, and then concealer. Quarantine. I'm gonna try sand. Just a little bit. Make sure that's my color. Might be too warm. Should be good. Okay. Mix sand with a little bit of warm ivory, and let's see how that kind of goes. Just really press that in. Don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way, but look at that. Goodbye, redness. I just love cream foundations for, you know, things like weddings, photo shoots, anything that requires a little more heavy duty coverage, because this just helps everything stay on longer. And it really covers well while still looks natural, which is what we really want at the end of the day. Always bring it down to your neck. It's not so much for color, even because if you have the perfect color, you don't have to match it to your neck, but you want also the finish to look the same. So that's why I always bring it down. Jeez. Okay. Let's do a little bit of concealer. I'm just gonna add just a little to brighten. Can always add more. So start off with less than you think you might need. And I usually like to blend it in with a brush, but if you have a beauty blender, use that, because nothing beats a beauty blender. Now, keep your concealer underneath your eyes, because that's what, you know, what we want. We only want to conceal our under eye. And then whatever is excess, then I bring it down. I know some people do it the opposite, but I find I need the most product under my eye and then the least underneath. Just buff it out so we don't get any harsh lines. And then you can always go in with your beauty blender and blend it out. We don't want any lines, and you want to make sure it sticks to your skin. Really work it in there. When I went to the Makeup by Mario masterclass, what he did and what was really important was, once you kind of lay it on, is to kind of go back in with your sponge with a little bit of product to really blend that blend it in and help it stay. It was fascinating seeing him work. He really does the simplest things, and at the end it just all comes together so beautifully. You're just like, when did that happen? Simple. So I'm just gonna set my face. I'm gonna use the Charlotte Tilbury powder for all over. Such a beautiful powder. And with this, I like to put it pretty generously. You can either pat it in or sweep it downwards. My under eyes, I'm going to do a little bit of this powder, but I'm going to top it with the Pat McGrath powder. This is the Skin Fetish in Light, and it's a white, very white powder. And I use this in a photo shoot I recently did for my blog. It just gets everywhere, but it really just brightens under the eye. So I just kind of lightly tap up and out, and it just, look at that. It just makes everything look so smooth. And I have that huge problem, of course, with my under eye bags, and this really does take care of that. So the only thing is that it's a lot of kickback, but again, we're just gonna press and go up and out. That's how I like to use powders anyway, under my eyes. I will say I don't find that this lasts as long as I would like it to, but it's just a really beautiful finish. Just love it. On to bronzer. I love this one by Bobbi Brown. This one is bronzing powder in Golden Light. It's a really light shade. I like to use this nice angled brush, and I just kind of focus on my cheekbones. You want to put a little on your ears so that it matches, and down your neck so we don't look crazy. If you want to help with your double chin like me, you can put a little bit down there too. And then just dust a little, if you have a big forehead like me, on the temples here, right into that hairline so that it all kind of blends in. So it's nice and bronzed. I'm gonna use this NARS palette. I really love this blush right here. It's just so beautiful and natural and matte. So I'm gonna use that. Really get that in there. And then for highlight, I'm gonna do, I really love this one by Bobbi Brown. It's so natural looking, and yet it comes off strong. It still comes off strong, but I just love to put it on the the high points of my cheeks and really enhance them. Like that. The other side. Really get it in there. Of course, I'm enhancing that pimple, but that's okay. We all get them. So you just do it back on your nose, in your lips. And then I do like to put a little in the inner corner of my eyes just to make that pop. I think I have a Charlie hair in my eye. Who's surprised? And a little under the brow, just a very little bit. So since we put a ton of powder on, and the reason being is because we want it to stay, we're going to make it look a little more natural. And I like to use this Tatcha, the Luminous Dewy Skin Mist. However, it's really expensive. So you can also do the not Cover FX. What is it called? The MAC Prep and Prime, or Prime Fix. You can also use the MAC Fix Plus. That one works wonders, and it's also not that expensive. So spray a little bit on your sponge, and then, woo, I just ate it. It tastes good. I like to start on my cheekbones because we really want that to glow, and then we'll just put a little bit everywhere else. It'll just kind of take away that powdery finish just a little bit without moving makeup too much. Perfect. So we're going to take off that mess up there. I'm going to use the same brush that I used to put our eyeshadow on, so that we can, if we do remove anything, at least we're adding a little bit back. And then again, it just comes right off. You see? I actually don't mind it because it adds a little bit of depth to my eyes, so I don't hate it. So for brows, I really don't do much. If you don't have full brows like me, you can use a pencil to kind of fill them in. Sometimes I just use a little bit of shadow and an angled brush to fill it in. So it's a little dirty. I'll use my bronzer to show you, but you really just use an eyeshadow or just something to fill it in just a bit. On myself, I don't really feel like I need it, but there are some people who do. I think powder looks most natural. That's just my preference. But you can also use the pomade or pencil. Pencils are really good if you're trying to, you know, fill in your brows and create a shape. If you already have a shape and you just want to make it a little more noticeable, then I would go with a powder. So there they are, just filled in a little bit so they're a little more pronounced and they don't kind of fall away. But I think for me, just making sure they're brushed is the key. And then if you have a little bit of a brow gel, that'll be good too. This one's clear by Anastasia. And that just helps kind of keep them in place. I love a fluffy brow, so it's gonna keep mine up and at attention. So for lips, I'm going to use this Charlotte Tilbury. It's new to me, but it's her best-selling color Pillow Talk. This is not what I want to use. That would be an awkward combination. A lip liner that's red and then this nude. I will use the matching lip liner. I don't really like lip liner. I don't always see the point, but I'm just gonna use it. So I'm going to line my natural line. So we have, and if you want to make yours a little fuller, just go outside of it just a little bit. As long as you follow your natural lip line, it'll look natural. I'm just gonna follow it. I don't always love a defined lip. I kind of go for the more natural looking lipstick so that there are no harsh lines and it just looks like my lips just happen to be that color. That's what I kind of go for, but today we'll do a defined lip. Get up in there. Now I personally go all the way. You don't have to. And you can fill in a little bit. That for me just helps it look more natural, so that's what I do. Next, I'm gonna do the lip color. Gonna just rub it in there. Get up in there. Such a pretty color. Looks so natural. Now, if you want to naturally kind of make your lips a little fuller, pressing them down like that blurs the lines of your lips and kind of just gives it a little bit of a oomph that makes them look a little fuller, in my opinion. And there we go, and that's it. That's all you need to do. To set it, I would use, I like this guy. This one's from Cover FX. It's high performance setting spray. It really makes it last long. And the way I know is that I've worn a full face of makeup, sprayed it with this, and put my mask on to go to the store. And while some makeup did come off, my entire face still looked good. Like, it just looked amazing. And so I really like it. Put that all over. Always finish with setting spray. It doesn't matter. And then this is something a client got me, so. Let it sit. You can also use, another one that's good is by Urban Decay, Classic All-Nighter. So good. So we use a couple of new products. I really love that the Bobbi Brown, so beautiful. That finish is just amazing. It's very high coverage. I still love my Graftobian. I'll probably use both, but so far this looks good, and we'll see kind of how it lasts. But I just love how it comes with all those colors, so I'm definitely going to use that on my clients. And then I am in love with that color eyeliner. I just think that it makes my eyes pop and make them look more interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed and learned just a couple little tips, and I will see you guys soon. Stay safe.